Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we're going to be discussing a disturbing kidnapping case that happened in Austin, Texas recently. I don't see too much coverage on this. I saw Law and Crime's got coverage on it a little bit. There's one or two very small news clips, so I just want to bring this to everyone's attention. I think it's absolutely crazy that 5 people have been arrested and charged in this case, and for what they did. It's really horrendous. So let's go over what we know so far. Okay, so let me bring up my presentation, seeing as we don't have too many video clips or anything yet, but this will be one of these developing cases that we will follow together. Okay, please like and share so that others know we are live right now, so that they can find us. Even if they couldn't join the live, maybe they can find this live stream later and then leave some comments below as well. Happy Sunday to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. And welcome also to my mods, to everyone on Patreon, all the YouTube members, and all the subscribers. All right, so October 30th of 2025. Today's date is November 9th of 2025. This is not long ago. I'm sure that at some point this will hit the news a little more because it's absolutely insane. So, on Thursday, October 30th, day before Halloween, right, 2025, the Austin Police Department responded to Check Welfare Urgent. It was a Check Welfare Urgent call at a home on Bitter Creek Drive in Austin, Texas. This was at 9:09 a.m. The caller reported that there was a woman in distress who appeared to be restrained and was calling for help. Shame. Oh my word. So this is the home featured in this case. Public record. Alley Cat said, I'm so happy you're live. My American football team is making me mad. Glad to have some Grizzly time. Happy Sunday. Thank you for all you do. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're here with us. Okay. So October 30th, I'm so glad that somebody called 911, because imagine if somebody hadn't, then this would just be on and on and on going, prolonged abuse. When officers arrived on the scene, they found an adult female outside the home handcuffed to a piece of exercise equipment. I think it's this, because this is all they picture, right? So they said she showed signs of physical distress and had visible injuries consistent with prolonged restraint. The woman told officers she'd been held at the residence for several months and was not allowed to leave. Oh my goodness. You know, it's always so bizarre when there's so many people involved as well, right? All these people in agreement of what they're allegedly going to do to this person. So officers immediately worked to free her and requested assistance from the Austin Fire Department, AFD, and Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services, the ATC EMS. Due to the condition of the restraints, officers were forced to cut through heavy metal links to release her safely. So she couldn't get free. And the handcuffs she was in, they said, was all rusty. They actually had to cut her out of her restraints. ATC EMS transported the woman to a local hospital for evaluation and treatment, where she allegedly remains at this time, right? Okay, so here we have the 5 bitter people on Bitter Creek Drive. Now, for anyone else who lives on Bitter Creek Drive, I don't mean it at you. I'm saying it at these people over here who are accused of this disgusting crime against a unknown, not named. So she's not a named, the victim's name is not in any of the probable cause affidavits, not in the media. We don't know her exact age or anything like that. So yeah, but she knew these people. And she was their friend for like a decade, and then they turned on her and they started allegedly abusing her relentlessly for months. So while officers were assisting the woman, multiple people, creatures, began exiting the home. So let's look at who these people are, and then I'm going to show you later. We're going to rearrange them a little bit of like who the heck is who, what is going on here. So we've got Juan Pablo Castro, 30 years old, Maynard Lefevers, 21, Crystal Garcia, 21, Mache Carney, 32, and Michelle Garcia, 51. Okay, so these are the people who live in the home. And guess what? There's also 3 children living in the home that observed this for months. Okay, they were detained while officers secured the scene to ensure that there were no additional victims or potential threats inside the trailer home. 3 young children were also located at the property. They were safely removed and placed in the care of Child Protective Services for safety and support. Preliminary information gathered at the scene, including interviews and evidence, indicates that multiple adults living at the residence were involved in restraining and assaulting the victim over a period of time. 5 adults were arrested and charged with aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, injury to elderly or disabled, and unlawful restraint. Stefan says one of those cases with a mugshot gallery. I know, right? Like, my goodness. What a mugshot gallery we have here. These cases are always so crazy. It reminds me of that Oklahoma 5 case. That was a case where 2 women were murdered. That matriarch has pleaded guilty. The others are pleading not guilty. Okay, but that case as well is like a mugshot gallery, right? Okay, so here they are. Here are more of their mugshots. All right. D. Bullard said those poor children. I know, right? So here's additional details and trigger warning, because this does describe abuse that this victim suffered, right? Okay, so a 911 call was made because someone heard a woman was screaming for help. See something? Say something. The witness said the victim was handcuffed to exercise equipment wedged in a fence gate, and she was naked from the waist down. Police found her tied to a punching bag stand with rusty handcuffs. She said she'd been kept outside for months and was threatened that she would be punished if she tried to leave, and she was unable to free herself. The victim had severe injuries, including open wounds and lacerations, swollen wrists, missing flesh from her hands and feet, extensive scarring all over her body from BB gun gunshots. What, and a battered face. The estimated time since she's been restrained is from what I'm reading, July of 2025. It could even be from earlier, right? Okay, so July, I mean, if it's July, August, September, October, that's 4 months, but it could have been longer for all we know, because she knew these people for over a decade. So, wait, that is a repeat up there. Police found her, yes, okay. The victim had severe injuries. Okay, at the hospital, doctors documented her injuries, confirming prolonged restraint and repeated pellet gun wounds all over her body, and they said she was malnourished. Now, remember that, okay, that she was malnourished, because these people say other things. Christine D said, I missed the age of the victim or why she was disabled. I'm saying we all missed it because it's not being reported. The victim's being protected. We do not know her age. We do not know her name. But I'll show you one of the probable cause affidavits after this. Grizzly Cat was able to find all 5 of them for all of these people. And so I just want to read through them and compare them, and then I'll probably make a separate video, for you if you're interested in that, where we can read through the probable cause affidavits. We do love documents, right? Thank you, Grizzly Cat. So, the matriarch in this bitter drive home is Michelle Garcia, 51 years old, homeowner. Now, if you look below her, there's 2 ladies. One is her daughter, Mache Carney, and her daughter's married to Juan Pablo Castro. Then she has another daughter, Crystal Garcia, 21. And then there's this random family friend, Maynard Lefevers, who also lives there at the property. He's 21. So family friend, I don't know, is he like in the friend zone with Crystal, or what's going on here? I'm not too sure. But he's there. He's around. Okay, so that's how they fit into this picture. Because I'm like, how do these people know each other? Why are they all at the same property? Oh crap, it's a mother, 2 daughters, the one daughter's husband, and then there's a family friend. Okay. So I'm looking at the matriarch. I'm looking at all of them, but like, damn, matriarch, what did you do? Now, here is a picture again of the home. There's not too many of them, but it says, beware of the dog. Of course, they've got Halloween decorations. This happened just before Halloween. And it says, no trespassing. We don't call 911. they exercise their Second Amendment rights. It says this property is protected by the Second Amendment. We don't call 911. No trespassing? But then you've kidnapped somebody, allegedly, and restrained them for months? Okay. I wonder if neighbors saw or heard anything before that day, right? So, the victim told police that she was friends with one of the women who lived in the house and visited often, but one day they decided they didn't like her anymore and no longer allowed her to leave. Shame, man. The suspects confirmed with police that, yeah, they'd known the woman for years. These suspects are really dumb because they're telling the police all sorts of things. You know, I could just see from what they're saying in the PCAs and on the reports, like, oh, like you're talkers, huh? So then we can expect you all to turn on each other. I see what's going on here. So the suspects are like, yep, we've known her for years, yeah. Now, remember, Mache Carney is the matriarch's daughter that also lives there with her husband, and they've got kids, right? I think the 3 kids belong to them. So Mache told police that the victim had lived with them for over a decade and was a long-time friend. What do you mean friend? You think you treat your friends this way? That's not a friend. They're so abusive. Okay, so some of the other suspects admitted to police that in recent months, the victim had been restrained and kept outside the yard. They wanted to prevent her from leaving. Okay. Why? What are you all doing this for? So Mache said that they initially started restraining the victim to prevent her from stealing and that neighbors had complained about it. Now remember that because her mother says something different. I do like how much they talk because they're telling the police all sorts of different things. Okay, so Crystal, the other daughter, said that the victim was only 50-50 capable of consent because, you know, she suffered from mental health issues. I'm like, you're going to abuse someone with mental health issues? You think this is how you must treat them? Kathleen says, I could think of 3 similar cases. It's bad, right? Oh my word. Okay, so others said the victim had mental health issues, so the others agree. Yep, we've known her for a long time. She's a long-time friend. She's got mental health issues, and this is how you're going to treat someone? And she, the Crystal, admitted that, yep, they used a BB gun on her. Okay, wow. So then, the matriarch, let's hear what she said. Michelle Garcia, 51 years old. Michelle told the police that she started handcuffing the victim outside because she would relieve herself in the backyard and she didn't want the neighbors to see. Oh my word, are you like embarrassed of your friend or what's going on here? Just like, ew, we don't want the neighbors to see that. Everybody, let's handcuff her. What? So the household then, which I think the matriarch led the way if I had to guess, right? The household agreed to a routine. The victim was fed only 1 plate of food at dinner. She had to sleep outside. She was to be kept handcuffed to a metal punching bag stand with her wrists pinned behind her back. Why only 1 meal a day? Because they all thought she'd gotten a bit chunky. Can you believe what you're hearing? She got a bit chunky? Remember that the police said and the hospital said, the doctor said she's malnourished. So they found her half naked, restrained to that punching bag stand. No pants on, naked from the waist down. Her pants had fallen off. And they're like, yeah, just 1 plate of food a day. She's getting a bit chunky. Oh my word. So, I don't know why they would do this unless because if she had a disability or something, if she was receiving like disability benefits, maybe they had some sort of financial incentive to keep her there. Maybe they were using her money. Or why do you guys think, right? Tracy said so she had to eat without her hands. I wonder with the way they describe it, right? And this is what these suspects are telling the police. Man, it's just really terrible. So the suspects admitted that they shot the victim with a BB gun that Juan Pablo had purchased. He said that he bought an electric rifle-style BB gun specifically to shoot her because he didn't want to touch her. He said he would get home from work, get the BB gun from his closet, and then chase the victim around the yard, firing pellets at her. When the police asked why he did this, he said, "I effing hate her." That's what I'm saying. These people are talkers. They're really dumb. It's like, write that down. Can't wait to hear this at the trial in court. If they do stream this, I don't know. But oh, you said all that, huh? Okay, and why? And if you hate her, let her go. Why are you keeping her there? Again, is there a financial motive or what? What are you keeping her there for? When police asked again why he did this, he said, "I effing hate her." And officers later recovered a green BB from the victim's clothing, and hospital scans showed another lodged in her right eye. Shame. Eddie, don't worry. Thank you for being a member for 30 months. I really appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, Rose Camarillo said there are so many people out there who have this happen to them because of their paycheck. And said it's probably that they are sick as well as profiting. Yeah, right. There must be something that they, like, I think they must have been profiting from her somehow. Which is even, actually, it makes you think, what else were they doing to her? Or having people come to the house to have done to her? Who knows? The victim told police that the night before they found her, her pants had slipped down, and that got her in trouble. She said that several of the suspects took turns to shoot her repeatedly with the BB gun and then handcuffed her to the stand. She was left there without pants, without food or water, as temperatures dropped below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius. There's a typo there, temperatured. Temperatures dropped below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius. She said she cried and begged them to release her, but they just escalated their threats of harsher punishment if she didn't stop screaming. Oh, man. Mallory Beaver said, "My first ever YouTube membership was with you, Gizla." That's so nice. Thank you for being a member for 20 months. I really appreciate it. So one of the children that lived in the home, a 4-year-old, was interviewed by the police. They said that his father, Juan Pablo, shot the victim when she was bad, and his mother watched these assaults. I like this 4-year-old. He's telling on them. They said that their mom would make the victim sleep outside and that they could hear her screaming from inside the house. Like, how disturbing is that? There's 3 young children in the house who are now, CPS. And they can hear the victim screaming outside. They can see their parents abusing this person. Wow. So 3 children in total were removed from the home and placed in the custody of Child Protective Services. And yeah, they told on their mom and dad. So, Michelle Garcia's bail is set at $305,000. Her bail conditions are that she cannot possess firearms, ammunition, or BB guns, must complete a Travis County Counseling and Education Services violence assessment, no contact with the victim or co-defendants, must follow a CPS parenting plan. She'll next be in court on November 21st of 2025, and she has a public defender. Apparently, these 2 are public defenders. The others, at the time of the reporting, seem to have not been assigned one yet, but I think they all have public defenders. So Mache's bail is set at the same amount, and her bail conditions are also the same amount. So mother and daughter. My word. Now, Crystal, Juan Pablo, and Maynard have the same bail and requirements, with one addition. They must stay at least 200 yards away from the victim. That's odd. That they tell this to these 3, but not the other 2. I don't get it. I don't get it. So Kathleen said, where are the neighbors? Right? Don't worry, I'm gonna show us the map afterwards, just to show you around the area where this alleged crime occurred, right? I'm thankful that this victim has survived this, but this is a lot of trauma. So if convicted, they could face, their next court dates are December 15th of 2025. Now, if all of these people, the 5 of them, they're charged with the same charges, right? If they are convicted, they could face, for aggravated kidnapping, 5 to 99 years in prison, aggravated assault, 2 to 20 years in prison, injury to the elderly or disabled, 5 to 99 years, and unlawful restraint, 2 to 10 years. But like collectively, it could be somewhere between 10 years and 99 years. I'm hoping for the 99, right? Show poodles, welcome. Thank you so much. Rich Auntie said the neighbors and children were forced to hear their prisoner scream and cry. Ali B from Tennessee said 5 people charged? 5 people charged. Mother, 2 daughters, one of the daughter's husbands, and a family friend. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll learn more over time as well. Now, the victim remains under medical supervision. The investigation remains ongoing. So, if you were a neighbor or a neighbor, if you saw something, if you heard something, if you haven't yet reported this to the police, please call the tip lines. It could really help them build their case. I'm sure they've canvassed the neighborhood, they've spoken to everyone, but you never know. You know, if somebody has ring cam, if they drove by, if they heard something, if they saw something, if they had other victims. What if they had other victims, for all we know? So, if you have information, you can contact the Austin Police Department's HT. I'm going to say that for YouTube. HT, you can see it on the screen there, right? Unit, there's a number there, or submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers. And there's the website, austincrimestopper.org, or there's another number to call, right? So if you know anything, you never know. It could really help the case, right? Okay, so that's what we have for that. And then let's quickly do some map time. Okay, so let's bring up the map for ourselves here and just have a look around the general area. Just a YouTube disclaimer, this is all public record. The police have provided it through their public statements, as you can just find on Google or anything. I'm not doxing anyone. I'm not showing anything that I'm not supposed to be showing. I'm showing the general area where a crime occurred, right? So we'll go like this on this Bitter Creek Drive in Austin, Texas. And if we just look around here, you could see here's this fencing, right? And so if we go this way, here you could see, and I think Google Maps was saying this picture would be from around January of 2025. And when we just saw that picture, you know, with the punching bag stand, so we can't see it here now. So maybe that was put there in July. But just think about how premeditated that also is. To put a punching bag stand outside. It's so disgusting as well. That whole, like, just the vibe of it, like put a punching bag stand outside and then this victim is pretty much your punching bag. You have fun chasing her in the yard. You know, when you come back from work, shooting her with your BB gun, according to one of the suspect's own sentences, the thing that he says, I effing hate her. He'd come home from work, grab the BB gun, chase her around the yard. Like, what? Caitlin Klaus said, how old was the victim? Again, I will say we don't know. We don't know. They've redacted all of that from the police reports. We don't know her name or anything. They are protecting the victim. So yeah, you could just see all of these signs. And I mean, if they have animals, it says beware of the dog as well. If they have animals, I hope that the animals are okay as well, because these people sound incredibly abusive, right? So here's this tree, and she was apparently tied outside. So by the pictures they showed, it's somewhere out here. So if we just go, I mean, look here. There's like neighbors around here. Now here across the road seems to be a homeless encampment, right? So even I would think the police, of course, spoke to these people because they might have heard things, seen things, you know? But yeah, if we just go around the corner here, oh my, wait. I went too far around the corner. Who's feeling dizzy? Stefan, did you tell them to buckle up? Because I'm driving now. Okay, let's zoom out like this. And let's quickly, yeah, we've reorientated ourselves. So it's around here. Okay. And we just look around from the aerial view. Yeah, there's nothing much happening here. So, but these neighbors, didn't they hear or see anything? Do they know anything? Here's a Cube Smart self-storage unit as well. Wow. Okay, let's put the little man back down here, is what I was trying to do. Yeah, so, wow, there's even like a bus stop right out here. What? You know, Rexy said many people had to have heard her, for Pete's sake. It's terrible. Oh my goodness, when you look around here like, hello. So again, we remind people, we've got to spell it out for them. Number one, if you have a friend, don't abuse them. If they have mental health challenges or are disabled, don't abuse them. And also, if you see something, say something. If you hear a woman screaming her head off, yeah, it is your business as a human being to report that to the police, right? Oh my word. Okay, so if I just want to show you, I mean, these clips that I have here, they hardly have any news clips of this case.
Equipment outside a residence on Bitter Creek Drive. APD says she had extensive injuries and it appeared that she had been restrained for an extended period of time. The woman told responding officers that she had been held at the residence for several months. Travis County EMS and the Austin Fire Department were called to the scene to help free the woman. Representatives for the police department say first responders had to cut through heavy metal links in order to safely release her. 3 female and 2 male suspects with ages ranging from early 20s to early 50s were arrested on a number of charges, including aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, injury to elderly and disabled persons, unlawful restraint, and resisting arrest. The suspects are currently in custody at the Travis County Jail, and no bond has been set at this time.
Well, now we know what the bond is, right? Hi. Okay, so we have that. There's one other clip, they say exactly the same thing. So what I want to show you now is this probable cause affidavit quickly that... On your side. Hold on. Gotta close that tab, hold on. Stop talking in my ear. Okay, so here we go to the document again. Thank you to Grizzly Cat for getting this. I would like to show you this 1 out of 5, and then again, as I said to you earlier, I want to read all of them because there's 5 suspects, 5 probable cause affidavits. They all say something slightly different. I summarized it in my presentation, but I'd like to go over these slowly and bring you the information, right? Jenny Lynn said, we need more Grizzlies in this world. Like a chair, for the love of God, if you see something, say something, right? We're starting to get snarky about it. We'll demand it. If you see something, say something. Be a justice warrior. Be someone who cares about other humans, right? Yeah. So Kraken Studio said, or yeah, just be a decent human being. If that is hard to fathom, I suggest you look in the mirror, then get a therapist. Thanks for covering such hard topics, G. Thank you so much. Also, Emily M said, as a disabled person myself, cases when disabled people are abused always hit harder. To know that monsters take advantage of our disabilities is nightmare stuff, right? Oh man. So this one is the affidavit for Crystal Garcia. So that's one of the daughters, right? There's the matriarch, her 2 daughters. The one daughter's married. They've got kids, and then there's this family friend. So unlawful restraint. I'm going to start here. Let's just highlight that. No, not not like that. Not like that. We don't want to redact it. We actually would like to highlight it. Hold on. There we go. I'm going to start here. Okay. On October 30th of 2025, your affiant received a phone call from Officer Miller at Officer Miller 10501, who was on scene of a Czech welfare call located at Bitter Creek Drive. Officer Miller advised there was a 911 caller who stated that there was a female subject handcuffed to a workout apparatus stuck in the gate entrance of a fence. Additional comments from the complainant stated that the female subject was screaming for help and was naked from the waist down. So I'm so glad that that person called. Whoever you are, if you're watching this, thank you for seeing something and saying something. Now, some of this we already know, but there's more details in this PCA, of course. And I just received this just before the live stream. So I just want to go through this one with you. Then I'm going to go through all of them later and bring you another video. Okay, when Officer Miller arrived, she observed a black female wearing a gray shirt with no pants or underwear. Shame. That is also so degrading. It's so humiliating what they did to her. Naked from the waist down with no pants or underwear. That was handcuffed to a boxing heavy bag stand. The female, who is fully identified under, there they say there's a number. There's just a number. Will be referred to hereinafter as victim. And the boxing stand were halfway out of the gate that separated the front and backyard of Bitter Creek Drive. Officer Miller advised that the handcuffs were so rusted that she was unable to unlock them, and had to contact the Austin Fire Department to cut the handcuffs off. Victim had a wrist handcuffed around the metal frame and an additional single cuff around her right forearm. The handcuffs on her wrist and arm were noticeably tight. They were clearly cutting off her circulation and digging into her skin enough to cause open wounds. The victim stated she'd been handcuffed for months. Oh my word, handcuffs for months. The victim was obviously in pain when officers attempted to get her out of the cuffs. Victim initially looked as if she had been outside for an extended period of time, with wounds on her wrists from the handcuffs and on her ankles. My word. Officers observed victim had scars all over her torso, buttocks, and legs as well. Trigger warning, okay, if you're only joining now. It's a horrifying case of friends who turned on they called this person a friend. Someone who lived with them for 10 years. And then they did all this to her, right? Allegedly. Okay, so the victim had scars all over her torso, buttocks, and legs as well. The victim's hands appeared swollen and she was unable to move them fully. The left side of the victim's mouth was swollen and she was unable to fully open her right eye. The victim stated she'd been handcuffed for months, inside and outside of the house, and was being repeatedly shot with a BB gun by a male and female. Victim had a laceration on her chest beneath her shirt as well. Victim said that she'd been friends with one of the females in the house and she'd been visiting periodically until one day they decided they didn't like her anymore and they no longer allowed her to leave. The victim was medically evaluated by Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services. A green BB was found in her bra and another green BB was found attached to duct tape stuck to her shirt. Whoa, that's so scary. The victim was transported to South Austin Hospital and the following injuries were located and documented. Hundreds of round BB-sized scars throughout her back, old and raised fresh. Old and raised fresh. Okay. Buttocks, face, forehead, shoulders, chest. Severe scarring across the front length of her lower abdomen, about 6 inches wide. Includes large sections of fresh torn flesh and large patches of dark scarring. Large pieces of flesh missing from her right wrist, left hand, and left foot. Both wrists are swollen with marks consistent with a restraint. Right eye swollen shut. Large patches of scarring on left chest area with torn skin. Bruising on the back from alleged strikes from a bat. Oh my word. CT scan shows BB-sized projectile lodged in right eye. While the victim was receiving treatment at South Austin Hospital, Corporal Fisher, 9165, interviewed her and learned the subsequent information. The victim stated she'd been friends with, there you go, that daughter that's got the husband, Mache, for a long time, and lived at Bitter Creek Drive for several years. That's also what Mache said. The victim stated she'd been living outside Bitter Creek since approximately July. She was kept outside for like 4 months. Victim stated that last night she got in trouble due to her pants not fitting properly and falling down. Due to the victim's pants falling off, Mache and several other adult subjects shot the victim with a BB gun. When the victim was asked who the adults were in the house, she listed the following: Mache, Michelle, the matriarch, Mache's mom, Juan, Mache's husband, Crystal, Mache's sister. Then there's also one brother, I'm not sure how old he is, and Maynard, the family friend. The victim said that the adults were all responsible for inflicting pain on her. The victim said they like to say that they don't, but they do. The victim said that she had been chained up, beat, emotionally abused, and spiritually abused. She mentioned that they make fun of her religion. The victim said she was chained outside of the trailer to an exercise machine described as possibly a punching bag equipment. The victim explained she had pairs of handcuffs secured around each of her wrists, which were attached to the machine. The victim paid such close attention to these handcuffs that she believes she recalls the brand name as including the letters VI, like Vitrek, right? A cursory online search shows that a popular brand of handcuffs is Viper Tech, which may be what she's referring to. The victim was restrained in a position in which her arms and shoulders were lurched forward and wrapped around the machine. This left the victim's backside exposed. Oh my, they humiliated her so much. Nicole, Juan, Crystal, and Maynard then all took turns shooting the victim with a BB gun. They shot her all over her body, but especially on her back. The victim was unsure of what time this occurred, but said it was dark outside. The suspects then left her outside and chained her to the exercise machine all night, wearing no pants or garments over the lower half of her body and only a thin blue blouse and thin tan long sleeve shirt over her torso. It was especially cold in the early morning hours today, 10:30, in Austin, with low temperature of approximately 46 degrees, so about 5 degrees Celsius-ish, right? In between medical procedures and periods in which the victim lost consciousness, the victim's level of alertness quickly faded, and she could only give a few more details. The victim mentioned that over the last couple of days, Maynard had also beat her with a bat, striking her liver area, stomach, and legs. The victim said that that's the family friend, the 21-year-old, right? This happened in Austin, Texas, for anyone asking there. Victim said she was still feeling severe pain in her legs and did not believe that she was able to stand or walk. Recently, the victim was also handcuffed and restrained to the machine in a position in which her arms were bent backward and the front of her body was exposed. Several of the adults then shot the victim with a BB gun on her stomach and private areas. At some point recently, the victim was also shot in her right eye with a BB pellet, which is why her right eye is swollen shut. The victim said that Nicole hated it when she escaped from her handcuffs and yelled. Several times when handcuffed, the victim would yell for help and Nicole would tell her to shut up or her punishment would be worse. While officers on scene were initially rendering aid to the victim prior to her being transported, several subjects began to exit the structure. Initially, 5 adult subjects exited the structure and advised that 3 children were still inside. The adult subjects were detained and placed in patrol vehicles. The adult suspects were identified as the individuals below. That's who we've gone over, right? I'm just looking at who's Nicole, because there's Mache Carney, Juan Castro, Michelle Garcia, Maynard Lefevers, and Crystal Garcia. Okay. So one of the adult subjects from Bitter Creek was identified as Mache Carney, and she made a statement that the adult subjects at Bitter Creek did not know they'd been doing anything wrong. As this is what Mache said, yeah, as they were just preventing the victim from stealing. Really? We didn't know we did anything wrong. We were just trying to prevent her from stealing. You know, neighbors that complained. What? Wow. So Kimbers, Ohio said, how do you get so many evil people to agree to this, right? Should I speak French? Folie-à-deux. I think that's what it's called, right? A rare psychiatric syndrome in which symptoms of a delusional belief are transmitted from one individual to another. And I want to know, what else have they done? Sure, you can abuse someone like this. What else have you done in your life? Altogether, wow. Okay, so it says they didn't know they'd done anything wrong. They were just preventing the victim from stealing. Mache Carney advised that other people in the neighborhood had made complaints about the victim stealing, so they were attempting to stop that behavior. Mache Carney was later interviewed by Detective Rawlins in a room equipped with audio and visual recording. Detective Rawlins read Mache Carney the Miranda warning from an Austin Police Department blue card. Detective Rawlins reported the following information learned during the subsequent interview. Mache Carney advised that the victim has lived at Bitter Creek for 10 years. She advised that the victim has been her friend. Really? This is how you treat your friends? Okay. Well, enjoy the friends you're going to make in jail and then prison. Wow. Okay, been a friend for approximately 12 years and lived with her for 10 years. Mache Carney stated the victim often gets in trouble with the police and has had interactions with Integral Care. Mache Carney stated the victim was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, amongst other things. Mache Carney advised that for the past 2 weeks she's been restraining the victim with handcuffs. Liar. Months, okay? Right, but okay, let's go with this. Handcuffs in an attempt to prevent the victim from breaking out and committing thefts. Mache Carney stated that she initially kept the victim handcuffed in the kitchen of Bitter Creek, but approximately a week ago she began to handcuff the victim outside the structure in the backyard due to the smell of urine from the victim soiling herself. Mache said that she would handcuff the victim to a stand for a boxing heavy bag at night, but would then release her in the morning. Mache Carney initially stated that victim voluntarily agreed to being handcuffed. Oh, yeah, right. Just like, okay, just handcuff me, it's fine. You could do that. Right. Let me put this picture up while we read this quickly. Wait, let's go to the other one. There we go. Okay, I must just watch the time. Rich Auntie said, I know. The mother, 2 daughters, Sila, so depraved and in one family. Son-in-law, is that it? Yeah. Or so depraved. Damn, a mother, 2 daughters, a son-in-law, and then a family friend. I wonder what's with the other brother, because there's one other brother listed there, right? Shame. Like, how's he doing? What's going on there? Because all your family members were arrested. Yeah, Wu-Tang Alex said, oh yeah, she consented. As if. Okay, so we were... Wait, sorry. A week ago, yes, she'd handcuff her, okay, and release her in the morning. She stated the victim voluntarily, look at that, voluntarily agreed. Voluntarily. Are you mad? Voluntarily agreed to being handcuffed as a condition of living there. On the Bitter Creek Drive, Mache Carney admitted to the presence of BB guns in the house as well as actual firearms. Mache initially denied the victim being struck by any BB, saying, not on my watch. Yeah, your 4-year-old's going to say otherwise, okay? Mache then later advised that she practiced shooting BBs in the yard where the victim was staying, never admitting to targeting the victim. In regard to the handcuffs, the victim was found restrained with Mache Carney, describing them as metal cuffs attached by a chain. Mache advised they were purchased via Amazon. Just Emmy1 said, I have 4 girls. Stuff like this terrifies me. It's scary, right? Thank you for being a member for 25 months. Okay. So, purchased via Amazon. Mache Carney advised that victim would often break out of the handcuffs when they would only secure the victim by 1 cuff. Mache advised the victim broke out around 20 times before they began to secure the victim with a cuff on each wrist. Mache stated she did not think there was anything wrong with handcuffing the victim due to the fact that some people do it for pleasure and some people liked getting frisky in bed at night. And since it was night when the victim was handcuffed, it was all right. Like, what is wrong with these people? I'm so glad they talk so much, though. They talk so much they're going to sink themselves, you know? Only fan, thank you for being a member for 1 month. You said great coverage as always. Thank you so much. Okay. So, let's see where we were. Sorry, every time I look there, I lose my place. There's a lot of writing on these pages. We're on page 4 of 7. So really, this is how she justifies it. Some people do it for pleasure. Some like getting frisky in bed at night. And since it was night when the victim was handcuffed, it was all right. When asked if a reasonable person would agree to being handcuffed, Mache admitted that they would not. When Mache Carney was confronted with the injuries the victim had, Mache initially denied any knowledge of them. She eventually admitted that the victim would often not want to be restrained by handcuffs and would be shot with a BB gun until she agreed to be placed in handcuffs. Mache stated either last night or 2 nights ago, she witnessed a subject identified as Maynard Lefevers, one of those family friends, shoot the victim with a BB gun as punishment for not wanting to be restrained. Mache Carney also stated that the BBs located inside the house were green, which matches the description of the BBs located on the victim's person during the initial call. It should be noted that Mache Carney used the phrase, tie her up, several times throughout the interview, and at one point stated, I was wondering what the noise was, like, did she, referring to the victim, get out again? Wow. Michelle Garcia, now let's look, that's now the matriarch, was interviewed by Detective Fendley in a room equipped with audio and visual recording. Detective Fendley read Michelle Garcia her Miranda warning from an Austin PD blue card. Detective Fendley reported the following information learned during the subsequent interview. Michelle Garcia met the victim approximately 10 years ago. Michelle advised that the victim has mental health issues, including punching the air, talking to herself, and yelling. Michelle Garcia advised that she viewed the victim's talking to herself as just bitching. Oh my goodness, wow. Well, we're going to say that at you when you complain about your jail conditions, ma'am. You're going to be punching the air, talking to yourself, okay? And we're going to say you're just bitching. Michelle Garcia advised that she came up with the idea. Oh, so you sort of, you're telling the police it was me. I came up with the idea. Okay, yeah, you going down. Okay, she came up with the idea to handcuff the victim in the backyard as she was embarrassed that the neighbors could see the victim. Michelle Garcia advised that the victim would typically urinate and defecate in the yard, which embarrassed Michelle Garcia. Oh my goodness, I can't. Michelle stated she handcuffed the victim to a boxing stand in the back of their backyard to prevent other neighbors from seeing the victim due to the possible embarrassment that it could cause. Michelle Garcia stated that approximately 2 to 3 months ago, she told the victim that if she wanted to stay, she had to consent to being handcuffed. Thank you for joining Crochet Mama. Wow. Okay. Michelle Garcia advised that the victim was restrained only one handcuff to the wrist. She advised 2 weeks ago, however, when she found out that the victim had been able to escape from the handcuff, Michelle Garcia began to handcuff the victim to the boxing stand by both wrists behind her back in a standing position to punish the victim from escaping. Michelle advised that the victim was given only one plate of food around dinner time. If the victim wanted breakfast or lunch, then she could dumpster dive. Okay. Michelle Garcia advised a reason she could not provide more food for the victim was due to the fact that the victim had gotten chunky. Having viewed photos of the victim from this incident, your Affian can attest that the victim does not meet whatever subjective definition of chunky that exists and would be better described as malnourished. Sure, you guys, my goodness. So Caroline Fenton said the term victim is what law enforcement is calling her. Yes. Yes. So they're not naming her. They've only given a number. They've assigned a number to her. Crystal Garcia was later interviewed by Detective Cardona in a room equipped with audio and visual recording and read her Miranda warnings on a blue card, right? Detective Cardona reported the following information learned during the subsequent interview. Crystal Garcia advised she lived at Bitter Creek since 2018, with all of the subjects referenced by prior subjects. Crystal stated that the victim had been a friend of Mache's for approximately 10 years and has lived with the family for several years. Crystal advised that the victim suffers from narcolepsy and several other mental health diagnoses. Are they all, each of them, going to come up with a different reason why they abused her? So Mache is like, yeah, she's got bipolar disorder, okay? And then the mother's like, yeah, no, she's just bitching, but she's also punching the air and doing all these things. And now this one is like, yeah, she's got narcolepsy and several other mental diagnoses. Again, why are you punishing her? What are you doing to this poor woman, right? Summertime said, thank you, G and Mods, for all you do. This is my very favorite place to hang out because of the lovely community that you've cultivated. Sending love. Thank you so much and happy 1-year Grizzly-versary. That's a cool milestone. Thank you for your support. Wow. Okay. Crystal stated that the victim often steals from both the family and stores around the area. Crystal Garcia advised the family kicked the victim out of the house 3 years ago, but allowed the victim to stay in the yard. Crystal stated approximately 2 weeks ago the decision was made to 2 weeks. She was handcuffed for 4 months, okay, according to the victim. And her injuries and everything else that matches. But okay, they're like, yeah, 2 weeks ago, you're all lying, right? She was changed to prevent her from stealing things. Crystal Garcia stated the victim consented to this. Yeah, handcuff me outside with no clothes on because I just don't want to steal anymore. Who's going to believe that? I hope these idiots take the stand. Crystal stated that initially one cuff would be applied to the victim's wrist and the other to the boxing heavy bag stand. This changed a few days ago as a store clerk at a nearby gas station accused the victim of stealing from the store. In reaction to this accusation, the victim was handcuffed by both wrists around the boxing stand. Crystal Garcia advised the victim is typically restrained from 10 p.m. to 10 to 11 in the morning. Okay, like 12, 13 hours. Right. And you guys think that's okay? Even 1 minute is not okay. Crystal Garcia advised she's known the victim since Crystal was 9 years old. Since that time, Crystal Garcia has witnessed the victim's mental health deteriorate. I wonder why. And knew she had diagnosis of bipolar amongst other things. Crystal Garcia acknowledged that it was 50-50 as to whether the victim would have the rationality or sanity to freely agree to being restrained by the handcuffs at night, and that a normal rational person would not freely consent to being handcuffed outside at night. Crystal Garcia advised that all adult subjects living at Bitter Creek would secure the victim with Garcia. It was not one single individual. Crystal Garcia initially denied knowing how the victim sustained injuries. Detective Cardona showed Crystal Garcia photos of the victim's extensive injuries. Crystal admitted that the victim appeared not cared for neglected, and in need of immediate medical attention. When asked how the victim sustained the injuries, Crystal Garcia asked if detectives could write the names of the family on a piece of paper, and she would point to who was responsible. Would you like a mirror as well? Here's a plastic one for you. Point at it. Detective Cardona wrote the names down, and Crystal Garcia pointed to Juan Castro. Detective Cardona asked how Juan Castro injured the victim. After another long pause, Crystal Garcia stated that Juan Castro, that's her then brother-in-law, had recently purchased a BB gun and used it on the victim. Crystal Garcia observed Juan Castro several days ago chasing the victim around the yard, shooting at her while the victim shouted that it hurt. Juan Castro also told Crystal Garcia on a separate occasion that he had shot the victim with a BB gun. Crystal described the BB gun as large, one like a rifle, and that it shot green-colored BBs. Maynard Lefevers was later interviewed by the detective. Detective Nissen. Look at that. Nissen. I think you guys might pronounce it differently. You'd say Nissan, right? We say Nissan in South Africa. Is it like the car? Is that how I'm going to say it? Reported the following information learned during the subsequent interview. Maynard Lefevers stated, he's in a dating relationship with Crystal. See, he's in the friend zone. I knew it. And currently lives at Bitter Creek, sharing a room with Crystal Garcia. When asked why he thought the police arrived at Bitter Creek, Maynard Lefevers advised that the victim girl was sitting outside and was looking all just, I don't know how to explain it, she's a mental case. Maynard Lefevers advised that he's lived at Bitter Creek for a few months and the victims lived there the entire time as well. Maynard described the victim as someone with mental health and behavioral issues who comes and goes from the house at all hours. Maynard acknowledged that police finding the victim in the condition she was found in looked like foul play, and that it's unusual for someone to be found handcuffed outside on the side of the home. Maynard initially claimed that the handcuffs belonged to the victim, and the victim would ask people to handcuff her to things. Maynard later recanted the statement, admitting that he was being deceptive in his responses. He amended his statement advising that he had in fact handcuffed the victim and was the last person to do so the night prior, 29th of October. Maynard stated when he handcuffed the victim to the boxing stand, she was wearing pants. Maynard admitted that on several occasions he had to physically restrain the victim. He would do so by grabbing and moving her or shoving her aside. When asked if he had ever witnessed the victim being shot with a BB gun, Maynard Lefevers admitted that he had seen it a number of times, and that every adult had shot the victim at some point. He stated the victim had been shot several times as a deterrent to violent behavior. It should be noted that at no point in any other interview has the victim's behavior been described as violent. Maynard stated that the BB gun belonged to Juan Castro, and he had seen Juan Castro shoot the victim several times. Maynard Lefevers said the victim was aware that people in the house were shooting her with a BB gun, and that she would verbally cry out and move away when she could. Maynard said he once used the BB gun as a threat to help place the victim into handcuffs by firing the BB gun at the ground so she'd hear the noise of the gun being fired. Maynard stated he witnessed the victim being shot with a BB gun as recently as Monday or Tuesday of this week. Can we make it? I have to go any moment now. I'm going to be conducting an interview. Remember the Matthew Poll trial we watched together? I'm going to be interviewing Deputy Willis, the K9 handler, and I'm going to see Raven as well. And I can't wait to bring that episode to you, and that's happening on the hour. So I've got like 2 minutes. Juan Castro was later interviewed by your affiant in a room equipped with and read his Miranda rights, okay? Juan advised he was married to Mache, currently lived at Bitter Creek. When asked why he thought the police were at his home, he began to laugh and stated it was a big misunderstanding. He advised that he figured the police were there due to the victim being handcuffed to the boxing stand, but that could be explained. Juan Castro advised the victim had been a friend of the family for a decade and lived with them for that long. He stated that he effing hated the victim and wished he would just leave, but that his mother-in-law, Michelle Garcia, had a soft spot. Oh man, she had a soft spot, guys. What? No, none of these people have a soft spot for this person at all. They have no heart, clearly. They allowed the victim to stay. Juan Castro advised that the victim was not allowed inside the house and had been living in the yard for several years. He stated that initially they had the victim staying outside the privacy fence nearer to Bitter Creek Drive, but that the victim would defecate and urinate in the yard, so the victim was moved to stay within the privacy fence. Juan Castro stated it was his idea to purchase handcuffs to secure the victim. Again, they're like, oh, that was my idea. Dumbass! Okay, thanks for talking though. I'm glad he did. To secure the victim, as she would leave the yard every night to steal items. He stated the victim had previously stolen his tools for work, which led to him hating her. He stated the victim was initially handcuffed by one wrist to the boxing stand to prevent her leaving the yard at night. But after it was revealed that the victim could get out of the single cuff, they began to secure the victim by both wrists. He advised they would restrain the victim. He would do so by handcuffing her. Now, I am literally, unfortunately, I have to go, okay? So, as I told you though, I would like to make, you know what? Challenge accepted. 1 minute, let's go. 1 minute for this paragraph. Are you ready? If it's too fast for you, I can't do anything about it. We've got one paragraph left and then I'm gonna go to do the interview. Okay, here we go. Hopefully the detective is watching. Deputy Willis, I'm coming, I'm on my way. Okay. When asked why he purchased the gun, he advised he used his hands to push, shove, and move the victim around. But he's so disgusted by her, he does not even want to touch her. He stated that oftentimes when he got home from work in the evening, he'd walk through the gate to the front door and see the victim in the yard. He stated he would then go to his closet where he keeps his BB gun, exit the house to shoot the victim with a BB gun. When asked why he did this, he stated, I effing hate her. He admitted to chasing the victim around the yard, continually shooting her with the fully automatic BB gun until she was cowering in a corner of the yard. He also stated, I'm not gonna lie, I've shot her when she was handcuffed too. Wow, sadistic, huh? He also admitted to shooting the victim with a BB gun when she did not want to go into handcuffs. When asked what he thought about the victim not wanting to be restrained, he stated it was not his problem if the victim wanted to stay there if she had to be handcuffed. When asked about whether the victim was allowed inside to eat dinner, Juan Castro replied, F no. When asked about whether he thought the family was providing enough food for the victim, he once stated, it's not his problem. Oh. Your affiant provided photographs of the victim's current injuries to Juan Castro, and he denied any knowledge of them, stating that he was not concerned with what happened to her on her own time. Wow. Okay, so here's the interview of the 4-year-old, the juvenile, and they said the juvenile is fully identified in said report but will be referred to hereinafter as juvenile. This is the child, the 4-year-old of Juan Castro and Mache. The juvenile indicated he knew the victim and referred to her throughout the forensic interview by a nickname and her true name. The juvenile asked the forensic interviewer if the victim was dead and stated that the victim was stupid. The juvenile advised that his mom makes the victim sleep outside due to the victim killing rabbits. The juvenile advised when the victim is bad, his dad shoots the victim with a black gun that has an orange top. The juvenile stated that this most often occurs out in the yard, and when it happens, he can hear the victim yelling for help repeatedly. The juvenile stated that his mom is often outside with his dad when this occurs. The juvenile stated the victim was not getting hurt badly. The gun is black with an orange top and shoots green beads. When asked if the victim could get away while being shot, the juvenile stated the victim could not, as she is handcuffed. All right, everyone, we made it. All right, Jenny G said, the interview will be pre-recorded, not live streaming. So, thank you so much, everyone, for following this case with me. I will keep you posted. I'm going to be reading through all the probable cause affidavits, see if there's any differences, if there's any more information I can bring to you at this stage. If not, then this is our first conversation about it, and I will keep my eye on it. They will next be in court, different dates. Just have a look at the presentation we did at the beginning, just to pencil those into your diaries. And then, everyone, I will most certainly see you again very soon. Please like, share, so that others can find this. And please also leave a comment below. I look forward to reading your comments afterwards. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Stay safe.